Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed an honor and a privilege to have the second season of Career Conversations, Maximizing Career Guidance and Career Development. This is a theme that I started last year by interviewing leading career influencers from across the globe. And today we are really privileged and honored to have a very good friend of mine and enlightened colleague, Mr. Phil Jarvis. He is a career champion. He has led career initiatives that have impacted countries. So I would like to welcome Mr. Phil to the show.
Raza, it's terrific to be with you. Hats off for going into your second season, and what a cast of characters you've been talking with. Many good friends of mine.
Thank you. So I would like to start off the conversations with a very interesting paradigm that people often confuse careers with a deciding process. Well, actually, it's a learning process. Can you share your insights on that?
Yes, that was a revelation for me. I have to tell you the truth. I started my career many, many years ago with the federal government in Canada, in the Employment and Immigration Commission, actually at their headquarters in Ottawa. And I was tasked with developing a computer-based system to help people explore occupational possibilities. Now, the problem was the average person can list perhaps 50 occupations, but there are thousands and thousands. And how do you pick the right needle from the haystack when you don't even know, what the needles are that are in the haystack? So this was a system that allowed people to talk about their interests, their aptitudes, their educational aspirations, how much money they wanted, and so on, and have the computer zero down from about 1,000 occupations in Canada to a short list or shorter list of occupations that appear to match what the person is saying. And then to go on and be able to find out, well, where are training programs at all the colleges and universities and vocational centers in Canada and so on. So, and that was a pretty exciting development, which ultimately, quite honestly, it was developed in Canada, but the first adoption was the state of Florida. The next was the state of North Carolina, and after that, Kansas. And it looked like many more were going to follow. In fact, ultimately 15 US states did adopt statewide. But Canada finally realized the Americans were quite impressed and liked it. So it ultimately went to virtually every school, college and university in Canada in English and French, and employment centers as well. And that was really about providing information accessible via counselors. We were quite concerned that people, of course, with a computer system, if you feed anything into the computer, it will have an instant response, a very quick response. But if you're feeding the wrong information in, it'll be a wrong answer that comes out, but it'll look credible. So there's danger. And we saw that right from the start. So we felt counseling had pre-counseling to make sure that people were clear on what their priorities were before they went to the computer, and then followed up with a counselor when they came away in terms of what would be the logical next steps now that we have, this new information. So that was all about deciding. It was very popular. Obviously, like I said, it was the first computer any teacher or students had seen, interactive computer, because this happened in the late 1970s. And through the 1980s, went everywhere across Canada, and also to Holland and Turkey and a few other places as well. And of course, the United States. But over the years, I thought that was the focus, providing good information to career development professionals so that they could help individuals make point-in-time decisions, really. What courses should I take in high school? What major should I focus on? What school should I go to for post-secondary? What employers should I target? And so on. A little later in my career, I was privileged to bump into a fellow named Bill Barry, who had an idea, which actually from Newfoundland, which I actually evolved into something that we ended up calling the Real Game Series. And that was a series of programs from the 3rd and 4th grade right up to the end of high school, 5 different programs, where students would enter the program and be told, you're not who you think you were. You are now an adult, 15 years in the future. You're going to imagine the house you're living in. You're going to imagine, the neighborhood and town that you're living in. You're going to build a virtual community with everyone else in the classroom. ultimately you're going to get a job and it'll be totally arbitrary. And part of the lesson there was, if you don't do some serious career planning, you are going to end up in something arbitrary. And I would bet that 60 to 70 or more % of people working in Pakistan and in Canada and many other places around the world are doing what they're doing now, not due to intensive research and career planning. They bumped into somebody, they bumped into an opportunity, serendipity, good luck, bad luck. They ended up doing what they're doing. And if they love what they're doing, that's wonderful, because they're going to be doing that 50% of their conscious hours every day for years. If they hate what they're doing, or if it's totally inappropriate for them, or they just desperately need the money, but hate the day and go back at the end of the day, worn out, frazzled, no juice left to interact really positively with their kids and their wife or spouse. So, that program, through a series of 1 or 2 or 3 hour classroom periods a week for a whole term, led students through imagining life as an adult and budgeting time, money, priorities, finding out that some people don't make much money, but they have quite a bit of spare time. So if they love sailing, or if they love walking in the woods, they have a lot more freedom to do that. Some people who make an awful lot of money have almost no time to enjoy it because they're going full blast. At one point, students will lose their jobs and pull together as a community to try and help that person find the next step. And at that point, you can make connections with the community, bring in employment counselors from the community, talk about what actually, anyway, that was a learning program. And that really opened my eyes, because students loved it. They got totally engaged in it, and they never forget it. Students anywhere in the world, and at one point there were 100,000 classrooms in 12 different countries using their own country's version of the real game. Obviously, the labor market information and cultural realities have to be appropriate for the country. But 30,000 schools in the United States, virtually all schools in Canada, 15,000 schools in the UK, France, Australia, system-wide, all schools, New Zealand, and Germany, the Netherlands. So I think when the real game was at its peak, it was probably, career was a hotter topic in schools than perhaps at any other time in history. Anyway, I'd like to just wrap this by saying that I'm now convinced that career development, where are you going with your life, is not something that's out on the periphery. And if we can find time and resources, we'll have a counselor help you. If it doesn't get in the way of math or physics or science or something else in the curriculum. I now believe that career absolutely has to be the heart of the curriculum, but I don't call it career. I call it in search of purpose. So if we can help young people, and really preschool children, right through retirees, to move towards understanding themselves, truly deeply understanding themselves and how they want to change the world in their own way, then we've got them absolutely hooked. Education is now about them. It's not about a curriculum that somebody has decided they all need to have in their heads before they're turned loose on society. So, is my purpose helping people? If it is, I could be a nurse. I could work in long-term care for senior citizens. I could work in drug rehabilitation. There's just so many, there's a universe of possibilities, but all nailed to the one thing I really want to do. Maybe I really want to raise the most loving family in the universe. And that's my purpose. And that's a beautiful purpose. I might want to fight inequality. And I could do that as a lawyer. I could do that as a politician. I could do that as a caseworker for the homeless. I could do that in so many ways. So it really is about, the whole quest is about discovering the purpose. And, we all say experience is the best teacher, and we know it. Young children can learn a foreign language. They can learn to walk, they can learn to run, they can learn to socialize, and they do everything through experience. There are no exams, there are no assignments, there's no sit down and watch the blackboard. It's just they learn purely through experience. And so I also believe that school, compulsory school, should be from start to finish, nothing but collaborative projects, working together, having fun, but dealing with real world issues that kids care about. And they care about lost pets, they care about homeless people, they care about plastics in the ocean, they care about a lot of things, a lot more than the curriculum for next Tuesday. So I really believe learning has to be experiential, it has to be collaborative, it has to be in teams, you know, and once a person's got a sense of purpose, and that may not come at grade 3 or at grade 4, but it can be dawning. And actually we can see the difference I can see the difference in my own children. They're totally different souls and their purpose is different. But once you've got a sense of purpose, then with that comes resilience, determination, satisfaction, authentic freedom, because you're doing what you believe you're on this planet to do. So and obviously, and that's very different than, you know, calling for a career counselor when a kid is confused about a decision that needs to be made. Let me stop there because I'm just rambling, and direct me, please,
I think
Raza.
that's a very valuable perspective, and I really like that. That is such a purpose. When you have a purpose in life, and when you are very focused at a very early age, talking about a specific purpose and a specific cause, I think you are more aligned to your career pursuits. So your framing of the career paradigm is very meaningful for the entire career community. As you know, this theme of these career conversations are maximizing career guidance and career development. This is the IAVG's international conference theme for this year in October 2021. So as a community of career scholars and career practitioners and career counselors, how can we amplify the profession? I know we tend to be very shy when it comes to amplifying, but I think it's very important because the work we are doing is it's a paradigm shift in transforming societies. So what can we do collectively in our respective cities, in our respective countries across the globe to amplify the profession of career development?
Well, you know, my whole life has been career development, and I love the people that are in career development and everything they're doing. And I think you've heard me say that I think it's so important that it needs to be the core of the 12 years that every country spends trying to prepare people. Unfortunately, the education system is about preparing people for the next level of education or the next exam or university, as opposed to preparing them for fulfilling, satisfying, happy lives, where they're productive and they're offering something important to their community, to the world, to employers, to their family. So I would like to think, you know, that this approach is going to put career and in search of purpose, which is what we're all about and have always been all about, trying to help people find themselves and find their way. It's really going to put a huge spotlight on what we're doing. And career development professionals in schools will become more vital than ever. And in fact, they will be the choreographers, the coordinators, the instigators for this kind of approach. They're the best people to do it. It's not going to be the math or physics teacher. You know, it's going to be the career development professional. In the community, everyone can relate to this issue because every parent or everyone knows someone who's lost and needs help. So, you know, to the point that we can mobilize parents and community members, employers, and others to help our young people find purpose, they're really supporting the career development profession, and we become more and more prominent as we argue for this paradigm shift, which is critical. We know we're not preparing young people for this, the world we can't even imagine ourselves 15 years from now, let alone 30 years from now, when they will be running the world. So I just don't think there's anything more important that we're doing. The UN sustainability goals are all about the big challenges. The projects that students have to be involved in, community-based, project-based, should all be about real world issues, probably in their own community, but many times in the world. And those issues are the UN sustainability development goals. So we need to pull together as a world to better prepare our youth to make this world better for all of us. And career to me is life. It's the whole package of everything that you take with you on your pathway through life, all your experiences at work and otherwise. It's trying to find balance between all of those issues so that you're not cheating family for work because you're chasing status and prestige and money, as opposed to happiness and service and kindness and empathy and respect for others and so on. So I think career development professionals can be guiding lights and lighthouses for their school, for their business, for their practice, for their community in this paradigm shift.
Wonderful. Thank you for those inspiring words. Careers as a lighthouse. And as you rightly said, that we are in an age that people are lost. People don't have direction. So when we as a career community, when we give them purpose, when we give them a direction, we are contributing towards a meaningful life, and that is contributing towards the UN sustainable goal, as you rightly said. So talking of UN, we just recently celebrated International Women's Day. Every year, the UN celebrates various days. So why not have a career day? Your insights on that?
I think that's a terrific idea. I think we have to get out of people's minds the idea that career is something I know we all need coaches. We need fitness coaches. We need financial coaches, financial advisors. We need and we need career coaches. We need many more career coaches, and we need people seeking career coaches out. Because frankly, this is not just, it'll be a better life for this individual. I mean, this all equates directly to economic development and prosperity. Finding people places where they're happy, they're productive, they're working well with teams and their community, they're engaged in their community. That impacts. I can tell you with the work that I'm doing with Alliance now, our focus, volunteer work that I'm doing with Alliance here in this area, our focus is young people who are not in education, in employment, or in training. They are just adrift and lost, and it's scary how many there are that have come through the whole education system, some of them with honors, some of them barely scraping through, some of them dropping out, but without exception, all of them having no idea where to go next and how to make the connection. So if we can help them into good, productive lives and work with employers that desperately need their talents, that's not just warms your heart. That's economic development and prosperity, and that applies in any community in the world.
Wonderful. Your message towards the end of this very inspiring interview, very valuable insights and a paradigm shift of how we think about careers. So what would you like to share with people that are listening to you across the globe?
Pull together, collaborate. It's the only answer. I talked about, learning has to be, well, the pyramid of learning. Just listening to something, you'll remember 10%. Reading it, you'll remember maybe a little bit more. But if you get right down to the bottom, the base of the pyramid, now you're actually doing, you're even teaching others. You're actively, it's not passive anymore. It's very active. So I think that collaboration is a key. In fact, life is collaboration. A marriage is collaboration. Driving on the streets and not crashing is collaboration and respecting the rules. Sports are collaboration. Everything we do as humans with other humans is it's either collaboration or confrontation, and there's far too much confrontation going on. So if we can prepare young people to be young collaborators and solutioneers to the world's problems, we'll all be better off. But I mean collaboration between career development professionals, between associations, with the United Nations, and encouraging them on this paradigm shift, pull together. We're all on the same planet. We're all trying to save this precious green and blue jewel in the middle of nowhere. And we're not, previous generations haven't done a terrific job of that. We all have to do better, and it's going to be through collaboration, and career development professionals can be at the heart of that collaboration.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, Phil. And if you could just share very briefly about your blog as well.
Yes, I do have a website. Actually, you're seeing it in the background, and it's very simple. It's philjarvis.ca, philjarvis.vis.ca, and you'll find in the navigation bar blog. And I've just posted a new blog about this theme, and I very much appreciate feedback from anybody that reads it. So that's philjarvis.ca, and just go to the blog, and it's the latest blog.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for your time, and it was wonderful to listen to your insights from Canada. I hope the listeners enjoyed your valuable perspective, and most importantly, more of a paradigm shift. Thank you once again for your time.
Thank you, Raza, very much for the opportunity to speak with you. All the best.
Thank you. Bye-bye.